Tyler Herro may be coming off the best year of his career, and he may feel he's worth a huge contract extension, but that line of thinking is making his upcoming contract decision an absolute nightmare for the Miami Heat. That's because even though Herro may strongly believe in himself, he's not currently worth $40 million per season in today's NBA economy, much less a full max extension, which would give him a 3-year, $50 million payday. And that's going to make the next couple of months absolutely impossible for the Heat to navigate. Officially, Herro becomes contract extension eligible on October 1st. That extension window runs through the end of October. If the Heat and Herro don't agree to an extension during that window, the Heat would then have to wait until next summer to hammer out a new deal. At the same rate, Herro would then have the opportunity to test unrestricted free agency if he so decided. What type of raise will Tyler Herro demand? In theory, the expectation would be that Herro is going to demand a huge raise. He has every opportunity and reason to do so. But whether that will actually be the case or not remains to be seen. It's only natural for Heat fans to be skeptical at this point. After all, in the middle of his prime years, there's no real reason for Herro to take less than what he believes he's worth. Being named to the All-Star team this past season, it's hard to think that Herro won't ask for at least some sort of raise. Perhaps we're all wrong. Maybe he does elect to do the team a favor and sign a team-friendly extension, one that maybe only gives him a slight raise. Maybe something in the $35 to $38 million per year range. But if Herro holds strong at his demand, which will likely be asking for an extension worth between $40 and $50 million per season, the Heat may have no choice but to kick the tire down the road on a decision. Or, perhaps more drastically, the Heat may have to make the bold decision to trade him. That would suddenly become more of a possibility if Miami does get the impression that Herro isn't going to back down from his huge contract demands. Of course, there's no way to know with certainty what exactly will happen over the next 2 months. It'd be foolish to say that anyone knows how this summer will end between the Heat and Herro. One thing is for sure, though, and it's the fact that the Heat are in a pretty undesirable situation. And what they end up deciding to do with Herro will, without question, greatly impact the next few years of their future. The unfortunate part about all this is that there are no easy answers. And no matter what they end up doing, I'm sure there will be critics on both sides of the aisle. The final verdict is still out, but the signs do suggest that the Miami Heat may have hit on another young gem. Pelle Larsson has had an exceptional developmental summer, and Heat head coach Erik Spoelstra has made it loud and clear that the team expects Larsson to have a huge sophomore season. SPO has seen the work that Larsson has put in this offseason and believes it will pay off with a bigger role this season. What he does are the things that we value. He makes winning plays. He will continue to get better because he has a great work ethic, and outside of that, he's just a great human being. Erik Spoelstra on Pelle Larsson. But it's not just SPO's glowing remarks on Larsson that should have Heat fans excited. It's clear how much SPO and the team believes in Larsson based on his willingness to go overseas to watch him play in the Eurobasket tournament. Even though it may not seem like a big deal, it is a small move that does indicate how much the team is invested in the continued development of Larsson. And if this summer is any indication, he's certainly on the right track heading into his sophomore season. Pelle Larsson has had a huge summer. Larsson had a solid rookie season, especially for a second-round pick. But what he's been able to show this summer should give the Heat confidence that perhaps they didn't have even a few months ago. Larsson had a standout stint during the NBA Summer League in which he averaged 17 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists on 42% shooting from the field over the course of 5 appearances. Perhaps most of all, he looked the part. Watching him play, it was clear he didn't belong out there with the rest of the Summer League talent. That's not necessarily a knock at the competition, but a testament to how much Larsson has thrived in his development over the last few months. At this point, the only concern for the Heat has to be the loaded workload that he's taken on over the course of the summer. But, in theory, it's setting him up for a strong second season. Larsson has certainly done the work that it takes for him to succeed in this next step of his development. And perhaps most importantly, the Heat clearly strongly believes in him. The biggest surprise move of the NBA offseason may not have even happened yet. Even as the slowest part of the NBA summer rolls on, I don't quite believe a Tyler Herro trade, as unexpected as it would be, is completely off the table for the Miami Heat. With a little more than a month to decide what they want to do when he becomes extension eligible, a trade of Herro could still theoretically materialize before the start of the new season. On October 1st, Herro officially becomes eligible to sign a 3-year, $150 million max contract extension with the Heat. It's impossible to predict how those talks between Herro and the Heat will go, but if they do go south quickly, it could be in the best interest of Miami to explore his trade market. Why the Heat may need to trade Tyler Herro. In a perfect world where a salary cap and a strict financial CBA don't exist, the Heat would be able to pay Herro what he believes he deserves while also still pursuing another star player to add to the roster. However, we don't live in a perfect world, and I'm not sure how feasible it would be for the Heat to sign Herro to a rich extension and then still have room to pursue another big-name player over the next couple of seasons, especially considering Bam Adebayo is already sitting on a max contract extension himself. In short, the Heat may have to trade Herro to get out from under that huge expected contract bill if they genuinely want to pursue another star player. If the Heat doesn't believe a Herro-Bam foundational core is good enough to help push the team over the championship hump, something must be done. As difficult as it would be to trade Herro, especially considering how much time and effort the organization has invested in his development, this may be the only logical path toward the Heat reemerging as a championship contender in the future. October should clarify everything for the Heat, Herro. But much of that should be clarified over the next 2 months. Sitting down and having those early extension talks, if they haven't already done that under the table, should give both the Heat and Herro some clarity. And if there's a realization in mid-October, or perhaps earlier, that the two sides are too far apart on talks, maybe that's the moment when the idea of a trade is slowly introduced. Either way, it would be foolish to completely discount that possibility right now. And, if we're being completely honest, it may be the only pathway forward to the Heat acquiring a superstar talent in the future.